Hello again, YouTube viewers. This is Collecting with J Bones, and I'm doing the heavily requested Resident Evil video. I am going to show off my Resident Evil collection, the games and the movies. I'm going to do them in chronological order, and I'm going to do them, I guess, separately by Sony, Nintendo, Sega. I'm gonna do them like that. So let's dive in. First game, Resident Evil 1, where it all began. Resident Evil Director's Cut. Resident Evil Director's Cut DualShock. Resident Evil 2. This is the original one I had, that's why it's in rough condition. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Resident Evil Survivor. Now all the PS2 Resident Evil games. Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Resident Evil Outbreak. Resident Evil Outbreak Follow Number 2. Resident Evil Dead Aim. Last PlayStation 2 Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 4. Now we're moving on to PlayStation 3. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil Revelations. And now the PlayStation 4 Resident Evil games. Oh, these are backwards. Oh my god. I don't know how this happened. Resident Evil Origins Collection, which has Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1. Okay. This is ridiculous. Resident Evil 2 Deluxe Edition. Resident Evil 3 Remake. Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 5. It comes with all that. Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 8 Village. I finished all these 100% by the way. Every single last one of these. Resident Evil Revelations. I am a completionist when it comes to my games. I buy games and I finish them, beat them, play them, enjoy them, experience them. Resident Evil 2 Revelations. I just don't buy games and throw them on my shelf, you know, to look pretty. That's all for PlayStation. PS1 through PS4, all my Resident Evil games. Now I will show off my Sega Resident Evil games for the Sega systems. Sega Saturn Resident Evil. Resident Evil 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. Resident Evil 3 for the Sega Dreamcast. Resident Evil Code Veronica for the Sega Dreamcast. Now I'm done with the Sega games. Now I will go ahead and move on to Nintendo. Starting with Resident Evil Gaiden. And then Nintendo 64, Resident Evil 2. I'm going to buy the box for that. I hate that loose copy so much. Now I will move on to the Nintendo GameCube Resident Evil games. Resident Evil 0. Resident Evil 1. Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 3. Nemesis. Resident Evil Code Veronica X. And last for the GameCube, Resident Evil 4. This was a primary reason I bought a GameCube. to have Resident Evil 4. Now the Wii Resident Evil games. Resident Evil Archives. Resident Evil 0. Resident Evil Archives. Resident Evil. Resident Evil 4. Wii Edition. Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles. Now I do have both of these on the PS3. Resident Evil The Dark Side Chronicles. They're only downloadable content. They're not really physical copy release games. I have one Resident Evil for the Wii U, and that is Resident Evil Revelations. I have one Resident Evil game for the Nintendo DS. Resident Evil Deadly Silence. And I have two Resident Evil games for the 3DS. Revelations. Or let's say Resident Evil Revelatons. Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D. Now, show off my one. Oh, that fell. Show off my one and only strategy guide. I would love the other ones. Would love them. Now I'm going to show off my movies. I'll start with the DVDs. Resident Evil. This is the original one I received. I got from my uncle on DVD. Yep. First one I got on, first DVD I've ever received was Resident Evil. Shows how much of a fan I am. Resident Evil Apocalypse. And this one. Resident Evil Extinction. Slipcover to it. Love my slipcovers. And Resident Evil Afterlife. And that's all on DVD. Now, Blu-ray. The Resident Evil box set has all 5 films. Voila. They all go on Blu-ray. And I bought Resident Evil, the final chapter on 4K. And the animations. First one I have on DVD with the slipcover. Now I have the second one on Blu-ray. And the last Resident Evil collector's item to show is Resident Evil Vendetta for 4K. It's still sealed. I streamed it. There was no reason to open it. And that is all. I want to thank you guys again for viewing another video with collecting with J Bones. Thank you guys, and I will definitely post more videos tomorrow. It is late for me here right now, so we'll be going to bed. Hopefully you guys are doing the same, depending on what time it is where you are. But have a good night. Thank you for viewing, liking, commenting, and showing love to my videos. I appreciate it, guys. Out.